Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talking Florida Rugby occasionally. My name is Charlie Velasquez. I'm your host from Rugby FL. And right next to me, without his Sharks shirt, is Tom Champa. What
I,
happened, Tom?
I,
They didn't
I,
give
wa-
you a shirt?
I wasn't given a Shark shirt. I did get a Florida shirt from a former teammate, so I sport it. I never played for Florida.
I don't know, man. Maybe they didn't like your calls last Sunday.
I
So
didn't make any calls. I was just the assistant.
you were talking, blah, 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 making all the calls. Hey, so how you doing?
I'm doing well, Charlie. It was a great weekend of rugby in Florida.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was really good.
it's it's sort of like a dream, I've been thinking about it, and it was, well, with all the chaos of well, the chaos of our first game overall, and the weather. I had some other circumstances, but it just seemed like a dream.
Well, it's been a long time in the making. We've been talking about the Sharks and a pro team coming to Miami for 2 years, 3 years now.
Forever, pretty much.
Feels like a long time. So when it finally happens, we finally have kickoff.
Wow, it was
Good for
really
everybody.
nice. It was really nice. I mean, I think overall people really enjoyed the the event as a
I
whole.
agree, and I was amazed at how many people were there, and especially with rain, with the hour, 2 hours leading up to kickoff, how many people stayed and were just in the parking lot when they had it locked out.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Lots of things to fix, of course, but to be unexpected, of course, because putting this, I've been sort of a little bit close to the Sharks since they started, and probably many people don't really see this, but the process of putting all this together, everything, it's like a major thing. I mean, a major thing.
Oh, I don't
Because
I don't think people realize how much coordination and administration work goes in behind the scenes to make something like this happen. You think you show up, it's a rugby game, happens every Saturday.
yeah.
Uh, it's very different.
Oh my God, yeah. So I'm so glad it went well, and it's only going to get better from now on, of course. So before we're gonna talk about the Sharks game with Coach Tui Osborne in a couple of minutes. Let's just quickly go over the weekend of our club rugby, which, by the way, is the most important rugby.
It's rugby in Florida. That's what
No,
we're here for.
club rugby. That's the most important thing.
I thought youth
And
rugby was the most important thing, Charlie.
club rugby in general. Okay. Hey, Tom, I think you were going to ask me something.
Oh, you wanted me to prompt you to ask you how people can help support us?
Exactly. So, yeah, thank you for asking. So, when I'm around the fields and tournaments and everything, many people come up to me and they say, "Oh man, thank you for all you do. Oh, it's great." Oh, and I came up with this, and sort of I do sense that people want to support rugby in Florida as a whole, the project, everything I do, including this podcast. So I came up with this system, which is very simple and it's sort of cute. Buy me a coffee, okay? Yeah, you want to support me? Just buy me a coffee. It can be just $2 a month. You won't even notice it happened. You can do it for five. That I call it a try, or you can do 20. That's a bonus point for me, and I get this every month, and it's a great way to support rugby in Florida. So this is what you can do to support this. All of this that I do, it just takes a lot of time, and it's been in the making for so many years. So if you want to support, this would be the way to do it. Okay, enough
Episode
of this.
episode 61, and Charlie spends 24 hours prior getting ready, so for 61 days.
Yeah, I don't know 24, but it takes a little bit of work. And not only this, listen, just think of when you go to the website on a Saturday night and you have pretty much 100% of the scores. That that doesn't happen anywhere in the country. Let me tell you.
That doesn't
And
happen on the league website, that's for sure.
okay, you said it. Okay, so it is a lot of work week in week out. The scores, I do have to say, give credit to the referees, who most of them report the scores right away. So that's how we do it. Anyway, let's go quickly to the what happened on the weekend as far as Florida rugby.
Yeah, we had a fantastic weekend at the senior level. Miami Tridents over Fort Lauderdale. That game was 7 points at halftime. Very close game. I think the Tridents got a
Yeah,
little scared.
yeah.
A little bit of discipline issues from the Miami team, but then ended up running away with it in the second half.
I wonder if that ref took out some yellow cards.
Uh, you see who it was. There was guaranteed yellow cards.
Okay.
One or two minutes apart.
Okay.
Yeah, Tridents played with 13. Really hurt him for 8 minutes there in the first half. Tampa Crew over Orlando. Got to give credit to the Orlando side. Crew has been somewhat all over the place. I've seen them play really strong, and then Orlando just won't seem to quit. They picked up a bonus point in the loss here. I think the surprise for everybody was that next match, Hammerheads over Pelicans. Pelicans have been putting up some impressive scores, doing very well over the D2 in their second year in the league. And then Hammerheads coming out of nowhere, putting up. First of all, it's a high scoring game. Vandeventer letting the boys play.
It's like 100
points, close to 100 exactly.
Either the defensive on both teams was terrible or the attack was superb. One of the.
I like to think, knowing both of those teams, the attack was superb. The Hammerheads, I think everyone knows they've got plenty of talent on that team. They got a cast of players there that have some real skill.
Yeah.
And then, Charlie, you throwing out the shame, the public shame that they didn't confirm their score in Rugby Explorer.
I didn't say anything, man. Did I? Oh, yes. Okay. Well, yeah. And I also have to say that 48 was achieved in minute 80. So it must have been a really exciting game,
Yeah, score at the death, take the lead.
Yeah. Tom, obviously, at the end of the game, nobody knows exactly. The players didn't know who had won. I mean, unless you have a nice scoreboard there, which almost nobody has, I think both teams thought they had won.
Yeah, I can speak from experience how many times players come up to you and ask the score. Nobody knows the score unless it's written. And then Palm Beach taking the forfeit over Miami Rugby, who's done playing competitively for the season. Moving into D3, we got a couple guests from the D3 clubs. This should be their final season or final week of regular season play. Daytona over Jacksonville, that must have been a nail biter. 2 points in it. Lakeland seriously handling the Pelicans D3 side. Claymore is over Treasure Coast in a forfeit. Gainesville Tallahassee must have been a good game. Both of those teams are fairly strong. And then we had the one women's game with Fort Miami taking their win over the Jacksonville women. That probably secures who plays second place against the Tampa in the final.
Probably Fort Miami at this point. Yeah,
that's what we think.
Safe to say. Then we have the college, St. Thomas. What can we say?
Have they paid their refs yet?
Man, they should not only pay the refs but pay some bonus because of the points they're doing.
The juice is running.
Yeah, then we have UF, which seems to be clearly one of the top teams along with FSU. So that must have been a good game also. UCF taking care of UNF, and that Ecker match close, low point match 17-0. At the college level, we sort of already have more or less the top 4 teams at this point. And D2, that game postponed. And then at the women's college, this is also a tight game. This season, that D1 division, which has only 3 teams, it's sort of all tight. So I'm not sure who's going to come out of that. We don't have a final for this either. It's just whoever ends up with the most points. And at the youth level, Wellington postponed that game. So did Boca Okapi. They moved that to the 23rd. And we had Jacksonville beating Gibbons for a nice margin there. Gibbons not in one of their best years, although I have seen them played a little bit different rugby this much night, from my point of view, nicer rugby, but I guess not enough. And then we have the U16s there. Okapi pretty dominant in that category. Okay, that is what happened over the weekend.
Charlie, you know what else we need to do at some point, which you did for me over the phone? Uh,
What?
Teach me how to use the Rugby Explorer app. All the games, the minute by minute, who scores, who substitutes, what the final score is, and most importantly, league ladders are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the teams all do it live, and that's where they're supposed to confirm. Which there was one team that got shamed. I already forget who didn't confirm their scores, but
Well, okay. We're not going to go into that right now
no,
because
separate topic, separate time. Takes
plus
Charlie 45 minutes to explain it.
plus we have this gentleman there in the rain waiting to come in. So let's not make him wait anymore and bring in Coach Tui Osborne. Hi, Tui. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming. And
Thanks,
nice to
Charlie.
see you.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
You might
Tui.
recognize Tom from the game last Sunday, right?
Yes,
Making those terrible calls.
do. I do. He was my best friend on the sideline.
He was whispering to the referee, penalty try, penalty try. That's recorded, man. So
Yeah.
Tui, what first of all, after your first game, this is of course is not your first run in MLR, but within this the Miami Sharks, what are your first thoughts about the game and what happened on Sunday?
Yeah, it's been a great build up to the first game. 6 weeks of logistic cohesion with the players coming in, learning different personalities and styles of play, and trying to just gel within 6 weeks. It's always going to be a challenging experience for the franchise being its first year. But for the result that we achieved on Sunday and the way we played, um, we take it as a win, and we have something special that we have built within the 6 weeks that we've worked.
Yeah, for sure. Look at that weather. Hey, but this is Florida. I mean, what were we expecting? Come on. We should have known this. It was very predictable.
It
Yes,
wasn't in the forecast.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad now. Tui, please tell us a little bit about your rugby career just so people get to know you.
Oh,
Like
um, I
in
played
60
most.
seconds.
Yeah. I was born in Fiji, born and raised. Did rugby in high school, and then moved over here to the West Coast and played most of my club rugby on the West Coast when Super League was still alive.
Oh,
Um, did some club rugby in the West Coast, and played Super League for Washington Rugby Club in DC and San Diego on back, and a few other clubs. Be a long list if I mention them all, but throughout my career gave me the experience, learning from coaches and players, and fortunately making the Eagles sevens and 15 squad in '07 to '09. So had a good experience there, and really got into learning from the coaches. So once I moved to life to start my degree, um, my passion grew for coaching in that environment, and I started coaching with Dan Payne and Scott Lawrence.
okay. Did you and you're coming from another franchise, right? In the
Nope,
MLR.
nope, this would be my first one. So
Okay, I got that
um,
wrong then.
this should be my
Okay,
first one, and enjoying it so far, and working with Coach Belisiana and Coach Duran, and the whole staff has been amazing.
they haven't got you hooked up on this yet.
Slowly.
Slowly.
There's,
Oh, it's coming.
there's so much around me. Maybe next podcast you'll see me with the mate in my hand.
Okay, let's let's talk about a little bit about this game in itself. I think that one of the things that I heard a lot was both teams very good defense, right?
Yes, yes. Oh, we always knew that Chicago. They were good on paper coming in, and the buzz of them being one of the better teams in the league this year was it was evident, and we knew that. So our focus coming into this game was our physicality, if we could match them, and it would be the tone that we set for the season, kind of a tester if we could hang with these guys, and we proved on Sunday that we could. And,
Oh yeah.
just chatting to the players afterwards, and they were, some of them were surprised at the way we played against them, but we weren't, because the preparation was there, and we had the players to do it. So we just built from here on.
That's good. How much did the weather affect your game plan, your style of play?
Yeah, obviously, more ball in hand would have been better on the day, with our set pieces. We went into the green zone with a lot of errors that, we convert one of those errors, the score would be different on the day. So, yes, the weather was definitely an issue for us on the day. But you know what? It was good to have it on the first game, so we can adapt, to this type of weather if we come across it again, and we will.
Oh my God, you will. Yes, of course. You're actually the attack. What's your title there? Your assistant coach, but you're more into
Attack and backline.
Okay, so talk to me about the attack of your team on Sunday. Are you happy with it?
Like I said, we didn't get much of the ball in the first half. We defended most of the first half, and then going into the second half, we got a bit more opportunities, and the ball rings slippery, and we couldn't convert some of those opportunities, and just some decision making that we look back on film and say this is something we need to improve on. But overall, the effort was there, and we played well in certain areas of the game, and we just build from there.
It did seem to me that the second half was better, right?
Yes, it was.
Well, at least
We had more
I
opportunity. We had the ball, and we kept the ball in longer phases.
I was looking at that one of the calls, one of the almost tries you did that was called held up, and sometimes that they say, I'm not sure if they say this about rugby. It's a game of centimeters or millimeters, but that was such a close. He did not ground that ball literally by maybe a couple of centimeters in one of the last plays. I can't remember who was the player. It was after a scrum.
It was
And
our captain, Mascovelli.
okay, yeah, and we could, and that would have won the game. So definitely, it was a game that was lost, but one of those games.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then one thing that honestly impressed me was the atmosphere of the stands and atmosphere of the fans going into it. I was expecting, we get the weather, people are going to bail on it, but they were chanting, they were shouting. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's something that surprised me as well. And I was talking to our COO today, and just I was amazed to see how many people came. The youth at the beginning. I know the weather stopped them as well. The atmosphere, the music, the college kids in the stand enjoying it, the families staying despite the rain, like you said, Tom. Just the whole energy of our first game. We were very, very, very impressed, and hoping this is one of many. And Charlie, we thank you for all you've done in helping us spread the word to the community, and we want to keep this growing in our community, and we have a professional team in their backyard, so we want everyone to know.
Yeah, we had an issue with the radios for the referees, where they've got a feature where it cancels out the background noise, so you don't get a constant echo. And the crowd was so loud that it couldn't tell the difference between the background and the referee's voice, so it was canceling everything. So we spent a solid 20 minutes, or it did glitches in and out depending on crowd noise. But I can't hear you. We're going back old school. It's all hand signals. So
That's probably
if I look at that, it's like,
that's probably
that's
why we didn't
fantastic.
get a couple of penalties, Tom.
I think.
I don't know if that game needed more penalties. I think there was 30 in the game, but
Yeah.
Tui, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but I believe you have some projects rugby related in the community that you're looking forward to or trying to implement.
Yeah, just prior to moving down, I had an academy up in Buffalo, New York, and obviously, I'd like to see that continue in the area, and just with
For youth?
youth, all levels, just basic skill work and just teaching the game of rugby and spreading the word, converting football players or any other sports, into rugby. Um, and getting a lot of help from Chris Vassell on that um, side of things is huge. But my main focus is what we're doing here with the Sharks, and then when it's off season, we can start some of the youth work.
What do you think is could be the impact moving forward now that this has started of the Miami Sharks throughout the rugby community in Florida?
I think it's already showing. You look at what we displayed on Sunday and why people stayed to watch it. They loved what they saw, and
Yeah.
it's already impacted Florida. I think so. Not sure what you guys think. So, looking from the outside in, you probably know more than what we're looking at because we're so focused on our group, trying to give you a good product on the day. What do you guys see that's happening out
yeah,
there?
absolutely. One of the things that impressed me the most was how many people came from all the clubs around Florida. I'm pretty involved with Florida in the state. I'm sorry, rugby in the state. But it's always team A at team B. And you see a small portion of people, and then next weekend it's two different teams, and next weekend it's two different teams. And it was great to see when you show up to the Sharks. It's all the people from all around the state who are coming, and everybody's there. So I think it does a really good job of bringing the rugby community together, all in. And again, the quantity of tickets that I sold, and to be honest, the quantity of people that were there that I didn't recognize was almost more impressive. You see plenty of the people who you expect to see on a Saturday. I know that person's a rugby fan, but to see the stands filled with people who are just rugby supporters in general, not necessarily tied into the specific local clubs. I think that's only good for rugby in general.
Tom, let's be honest. You go to any rugby game, whatever whatever division, you just have a handful of people watching on the sidelines. So and you know them all pretty much because they're always the same. So what you were just saying is, that also impressed me. Say, wow, all these people are in rugby. Most of them I don't even know who they are. I've never seen them. So that is one very positive thing. Another thing that I think it should happen is, of course, we should be seeing more interest in rugby as time goes by. People, getting to the clubs, wanting to play. That is something that should come out of this for sure as time goes by.
And I think it gives players in the Division 3, Division 2 something to strive for. You get some guys who say, where am I supposed to go after I play Division 2? Now there's a professional team.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, before it was, who's your closest professional team? Noah Gold or
Atlanta?
It was Atlanta before that. Yeah.
It was Atlanta, right? A 10-hour drive. But now we're right here, and we want to support the community, and we want that to be reciprocated, so everyone grows the game in the state and in the region. So, everyone working and having a part in building this would be amazing.
Another thing that I think may happen is that clubs, generally speaking, watching what professional rugby looks like like watching it and experiencing it will want to go back to the clubs, not become professional, of course, but just make the club much better. Like if you go to this field and you look at those posts, you know,
They're in the front, Charlie. They're on
those
the goal line.
16-meter post, you go back to your field and damn, they're not going to be 16, but hey guys, let's try to get, 10-meter post. Okay. And improve the club and the quality of what we're doing and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Tui, I want to thank you very much for your time. You guys, I guess you're getting ready to travel to. Tell me a little about this next game you have with the Seahawks.
Correct.
What are you expecting there?
Just talking to some of the players who've been in the league for a while, travel is always tough, right? And our main focus is to make sure the guys have a lot of things off of their plate, so they focus more on what they have to bring to the game on Saturday. So just preparing them mentally this week was a huge task for us to achieve, and I think we did achieve that. And today was our last day of practice. We got the day off tomorrow, and we travel on Friday morning.
Friday morning, okay. Well,
Awesome. And then what's the next home game for those watching?
The 23rd.
23rd against the.
We're on the road.
Anthem.
Correct. We're on the road for 2 weekends, and we're back home the 23rd, and San Diego the following weekend at home as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, we don't have assignments that far out, but guaranteed I'll be there.
Sounds good.
In one capacity or another.
Bring a friend.
Sounds good. Awesome. Tui, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate everything you're doing with the Sharks. Glad you're bringing the community together.
Thank you very much, Tom, and thank you, Charlie. It's been a pleasure.
Good luck on
Awesome.
Saturday. We'll be watching 10 p.m. 10 p.m. local time.
Yep.
So
maybe past your bedtime, Tom, but hopefully you stay up to watch us.
I'll be up. Charlie's got narcolepsy. Just
I don't even sleep. It's going to be a great party. Okay, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Go Sharks.
Go Sharks. Hey, I got my shirt. I don't know, Tom. Okay. We have to fix that. Okay. That was nice. Such a great guy, Tui. Nice to see him.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I'm a good guy also. You not so much. Yeah.
6
Okay. So the next topic is we're going to talk about men's D3, which this year has been like reformulated, to put it some way. Well, what the union did was get rid of D4, which was a nice experiment and served the purpose, but like it was not sort of sustainable. So they, with whoever wanted or remained, because a couple of teams sort of fell off, and they put everybody together in D3. And we have an 11 team championship divided in 2 zones. And today we're going to talk to Sarasota, who is one of the teams that's going to be in the semifinals, and to Jacksonville, which also is going to be in the semifinal for the North. So let me bring these guys in. Ross from Sarasota. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Charlie. Tom, how are you guys?
Doing well.
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
Captain Ross, Julian Cupo. Cupo? Is that how you say it? Because
yes, sir.
I would say it in Spanish. I don't know. Is that a Spanish?
It's Italian.
It is? Oh, Italian.
Yes.
Okay. Like Ciampa.
That's half of us, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
And then we're going to bring in from Jacksonville, Mike Lusick.
How you doing, Charlie?
President, new president and player, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm one of the props.
Okay. And Coach Ryan Cox. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm great. How are you, Charlie and Tom?
Great to have you guys. Great to have you guys here. So we want to talk about, I picked you guys because you are 2 teams that last year were not doing that great. And this year you clearly I could sort of follow you guys throughout the season, throughout your social media, and see the progress you have done. And that's and now, and to be honest, I was just looking at the schedule from D3 the other day, and I saw, oh, damn, this is already over. We already have, D3. You guys are going straight to semifinals, no quarterfinals, and both of you are going to be playing for the North and the other one, Sarasota, for the South at the semifinals. So let's start with Jacksonville because they're the one furthest. How did you guys turn around the club to make it?
Well, on the field, we did a couple different things. This is my first year as head coach in Jacksonville, and we walked into the season with a different outlook. We wanted to run the team more towards our strength. We wanted to take a much more analytical approach to how we were attacking games. So this past season has been full of film, has been full of counting on our fingers how often we're getting penalties. And really just trying to take advantage of all the information that we can. We actually used a lot of the game data on rugby in Florida from past seasons to see how we stack up against competitors. It's really turned into everything we do has been under the microscope. And the more we've performed, we've also found that recruiting has kind of taken care of itself. We started back on August 23rd was our first day of 15s. We played a 9 fixture season for the fall, so we had a pretty intense fall season, and I think that overall, the different style of coaching mixed with the different level of commitment that we've tried to bring this year has prospected a lot of great talent for us, and it's prospected a lot of success for us.
Great. What about Sarasota? You guys have a little bit of a history of doing very well a few years back. I remember that final. I think it was, we were talking earlier in the green room against Gainesville, I think.
Yes.
In 2014. I think Di Morgan was still the coach at the time.
He was, yeah. That was right before I joined, and really since then, what has happened to our club this year to transform things? I mean, I think that probably stretches back to the last 5-6 years, and trying to create a culture change more than anything in the club, which we've managed to do this past year or so. Work on discipline. Our numbers were extremely low, and really all we had to try and hang in games was to be physical and to front up, and that often caused ill discipline on the field. But we've really tried to clean up our act from top to bottom, on and off the field, and it's really started to show now through the results and through the recruitment. I'm sure Julian will attest to it's a much different club to be a part of this season. We've attracted some new players, some older players have come out of the woodwork when they see the change, and we set the boys some challenges every week, and every week they seem to step up to the plate and bring back the win. So it leaves us in a nice position. We still have a very important game to play against Brevard in a few weeks, which is our last game of our matrix season, which will determine who's 1 and who's 2 in our southern division.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, because apparently I'm not sure this is 100% correct, because these are my standings, but you both have 20 points. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we both have 24 bonus points each. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, because you're going to play this last league game. Not this week, the following, right?
It was rescheduled. The 23rd. It was rescheduled to which then we've had to organize a friendly in between our last game and this game, just to make sure boys have game time and we keep fresh. Otherwise, a month off in between games is kind of
crazy. Yeah. So you're gonna play them, and then you're gonna play them again.
Lord knows, I don't know which way. Does it not? No, I think it goes.
You're gonna play them again, because both of you are gonna be semifinalists.
I thought the structure. I thought the structure of the playoff was 1 versus 2 and 2 versus 1 from north and south.
I think that's how it goes. Correct.
Oh, they're going to switch.
South, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
They could play each other in the final, though, Charlie.
Yeah. We'll see.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, in anyway, it's going to be great. So let me just get this out of the way. Julian, tell us about the group of players you have and how have they like come together compared to were you here the last season?
Yes, I was. I was here a couple seasons. Essentially, I mean, I've grown up with a lot of these kids too, from youth program. Yeah,
Okay.
I'd call them kids. They're my kids. You know? So I grew up with them. A lot of them youth program. So we played in high school. I know together, me, Chris, Jacob, LaShawn, Jakai. We've always, so we had that chemistry. And then this year, definitely bringing on a couple new guys. Everybody's been together a lot more. So I feel like the organization and hanging out more, having that team bonding, definitely brought everybody closer, which I think is more important than anything else, really. When you have that blood, almost, it makes the team somewhat stronger in some way. So once everybody was on the same page at that point, we realized our potential, and just every game and every practice was more motivational to just keep on going as hard as we can. So
yeah, it's like you start creating a culture, right, within the club, and if that is also linked to a good performance on the field, getting results, that's like the perfect combination to grow. And in your case, I have to say, you must be the envy of all the rest of the clubs in the state, pretty much, because you have that field and those the clubhouse and all that nobody else has. I think that is something that Di Morgan back in the days sort of put together, right?
Yes, he did, and there may be some news comes out in the next few weeks, which we can start to share with people.
Are you getting tall posts? Charlie gets posted very easily.
They are perfect posts, very beautiful posts.
The hurricane damaged them a couple of years ago. But,
really?
Yeah, it bent them a little bit, but we've got some things happening within the club, and in a week or two we'll be able to disclose those a bit further. But at this stage, our Brevard game is of utmost importance, and getting certainly a home semifinal for us would be the icing on the cake for our season right now.
All right, go for it. Ryan, let's talk a little bit about the schedule that has been played this year for D3. As I was saying earlier, I was sort of surprised that it's pretty much over. What are your thoughts on the schedule, and if this is something that for next year, and you guys from Sarasota can also chip in, what do you think it should look like?
Yeah, the schedule this year was tough, to be honest. In Jacksonville, we're kind of the furthest north as you get for a club, other than Tallahassee. So, comparing it to last year, we were traveling a lot last year. We were going down to West Palm, going down to see Sarasota. Those are trips for us. Those are pretty lengthy. Brevard. So for us this year, it was great to have the north, where now we're only going to Gainesville, Daytona, Tallahassee being our longest. So that has been nice. I will say that. But the spacing of games has definitely left a lot to be desired. It's one thing to have to worry about, obviously coaching the team, through making sure your players are solid skill-wise and whatnot, but it adds a whole other dimension to the game when now all of a sudden you're battling a chopped up schedule. We had 2 games, and then we had about 3 weeks off, and then we had 3 games, and now we have about 2 weeks off, and then we're going to have about 2.5 to 3 weeks off between playoffs. So it makes it tough, because especially in the level that we're at, I don't want to say that guys get bored necessarily, but it's a lot harder to. Yeah, I mean, they're at practices, and we practice pretty efficiently and pretty intensely, but it's still not the same thing as playing a game. And then that becomes the question of, do you risk a scrimmage, right? Do we schedule a scrimmage with somebody and risk, somebody getting hurt? So that just adds a whole other dimension. That would definitely be nice if it wasn't necessarily there next year. I would love to see a little bit more of an even divide. I was a little sad when I saw that the South is playing less games than us. It kind of doesn't work the numbers out super well. But yeah, hopefully for next year we can get a much more even schedule and but also maintain this lovely lack of travel. So
listen, have you ever considered joining the Georgia Rugby Union? Would those distances be like more like?
Yeah, there was actually a lot of talk about that in Jacksonville about 5 years ago. There was a big discussion that went on about potentially joining the Georgia Rugby Union, and that's actually pretty common. There a lot of people might not know, but there are actually more teams in Florida and the Panhandle that don't play. Pensacola, for example, they don't play in the FRU, and we thought that we might fit into that pretty well because our closest home game is Daytona, and that took us, whatever it was, an hour 15, hour 20. Maybe a little longer for bike week, which that's not bad. But again, just traveling down to Sarasota with traffic, you're hitting four hours for that. In West Palm, that's a tough one. So we seriously had a conversation about it. But a couple of years ago, we decided that it was better to stay in Florida for the chance that, we have a lot of guys that when we do make those long trips, they turn it into a weekend or they've got family down there. I think one of the best examples is actually Mike right here. I mean, your parents live down there. So we would go to West Palm. That's a weekend trip for you. And it makes it pretty whole for everybody. So we opted to stay in because it seemed to be what guys wanted. And we also didn't want to beat up Georgia too bad. So we decided,
Plus, they don't even have a podcast, do they? Is there talking?
No, they're not
Georgia Rugby? No, not even close.
No, but they're doing good things in Georgia. I know for a fact.
Yeah, I do think if we can come to some kind of agreement on D3 to lengthen the schedule. I mean, 5 games or 6 games in your guys' case it's just not really long enough when we're actually dealing with I know I said we cleaned up our discipline, but a disciplinary issue. And when you equate the World Rugby rules to a 5-game season, but you give out a disciplinary sanction based on a 20-game season, then all of a sudden you've suspended someone for more than half of a legit season, and it makes absolutely no sense in my mind. But to me, if we could just amalgamate D3, everyone play everyone home 1 year, home or away 1 year, and then flip-flop it and do the opposite the next year and get at least 11 games, 10 games.
That would be nice. What about playing more in the fall? Because it used to be that we had much more rugby in the fall a few years ago, and then we sort of slowly started moving everything to the spring. And so what I think happened, I mean, that is not really the worst thing about that. I think is that because there's nothing really to look forward in the fall, because even before we had, All Florida Day a few years ago, that was an event that everybody was looking forward to. For all kinds of, just to get ready for the season, because you will play a lot of games, to be all together. And All Florida Day pretty much fell apart over these last years. So what happens now is in the fall, like there's nothing really to look forward to. And I think that also affects like teams starting to practice earlier, registering players. Everything is like slower because, hey, we're just going to play in January. And you have some teams that basically play no rugby in the fall or 1 game, that's it, and all they play is the matrix season. So I think we have to look to the fall, and it has
it does make it tough. I mean, we talked about the breaks mid-season. The holidays come every single year, and there's some teams that start practicing in October, and then you have the last half of December is a complete wash. People are traveling, people are back home with their families, and so it makes that tough. And you get teams that either start in October and have a very long preseason, or you find teams start 3 weeks before kickoff and
it's
try to
tough.
make it happen.
For us, we used All Florida Day this year as our preseason. We didn't schedule any other preseason games. We just showed up there and played in that because it was tough. But essentially the change for us in culture started last season, and we just didn't stop. We used Siesta Key Beach. We played touch rugby on the beach all summer long, and whether it was 6 guys came out or 18 guys came out, guys kept coming out every single week, and it kept our group together. But yeah, absolutely. If there was fall rugby then to build into, it would have helped that progression and numbers for us 100%.
Well, you guys have to push for these things in the union. They don't happen just because, you have to push for them. Be involved, go to the meetings, think about it, and get it done.
Absolutely.
Clubs have to be involved. It's very easy to bitch about stuff when it's already done, and you didn't, you didn't care at the time. Now it's done. Okay, you have to be involved.
Charlie, is that directed at me? I'm the chief bitcher of the community.
No, I think that's how it works, because, and it has to work out for the clubs. You also, Jacksonville, were also at All Florida Day. I totally remember you guys there. I was there also. So, okay, guys. You want to say any last thoughts on your season? What are you looking forward to? Do you like where we're going to be playing the finals at IMG?
Me personally, if we win, then I like it because we get a home semifinal and then play almost at home again. So, yeah, I'll take it.
Jacksonville, you're screwed no matter what. You're always far away. I mean,
but honestly, though, I mean, we're kind of used to the traveling roadshow. I mean, kind of back to the fall. Like I said earlier, we had a 9-fixture fall season. We traveled, quite a bit. We traveled to Charleston to play the Outlaws. We had quite a few home fixtures, some tournaments and whatnot. So really the roadshow part of it doesn't faze us as much as it used to. We also have a group of extremely hungry guys that, it could be a 2-hour drive or it could be an 8-hour drive. And those guys are amped up just to go out there, hit the field. And, we've been really lucky. We've had a B-side match during all but one of our games this year. So we have, 60 guys on a roster. We've got 40 that are super active. And so, they're fueled by just trying to make the 23. And I think that's gone a long way where, it can be in Bradenton. I mean, screw it. It could be in Key West. But if we make that final,
well, that's a good
believe
idea.
It.
That's a great idea.
You believe it. We're coming down there. We're coming for it all. So, honestly, the travel, again, could be 2 hours, could be 8 hours. For us, we're just there to win. So,
hey, man, we'll totally do it in Key West next year.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
Oh my God!
Let's just agree. If this year we meet you guys in the final, we make a good weekend of it.
Hey, I mean, there's a real chance we meet you in the semifinal too. It could be. We may see it one way or the other.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. Yeah, good luck in your last game, and hopefully we can see it out this season, and we'll see you guys in the playoffs at some stage.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Charlie, when are the finals at IMG?
April 20th.
April 20th. That should be a good day for Florida rugby as well.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. Okay, guys, thank you very much. We'll be looking at these games and looking forward to the semifinals. Good luck to all. May the best team win. Unless you have Tom Champa reffing you, and then he's going to decide who's going to win.
Whoever gets fewer yellows.
Thank you guys for having us on. Yeah, all the best.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Always good to talk. I myself, I'm of course more familiar with the people here in South Florida because I just live here, so I see them all the time. So I really enjoy talking to the clubs that are far away on the borders of the state.
we got to coordinate. We got to get more film of the teams up north. I feel like I get the film because we have your little network of people who do all the filming and highlights. We got to get some film from the Jacksonville people, from the corners of the state.
Yeah, well, nowadays, pretty much, I would say that most teams are taping their games. Many of them with these AI cameras, that make it sort of easy. Maybe not always the best result for highlights, for example, but, they are taping the games, but they are not showing them. So
yeah, but I care about me. I want to watch it.
I don't care about you, Tom. I care about the rugby community. That's why I post the highlights, and it's for everybody to see.
Different angles to the same point. I'll take it.
Okay, so we had sort of tried to set up a little segment at the end and bring in some refs, but apparently they are busy today with meetings. Zoom calls, yourself included, right? You have to run on the dot because you have another meeting at 8.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll let you go a little bit earlier.
I'm just impressed that this is the first pod under an hour in how many years? Episode 61. This might be the first one.
Probably, yeah, forever. Yes. Well, that's because we didn't get all these refs. I invited Cisco, which, by the way, let's just mention he was at the Los Angeles Sevens last weekend. We would love to have had Khalil also, who was the ref at the Sharks game. And funny fact, next game, Cisco is doing this game for Sharks in Seattle.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the following week, it's Lex Winner.
Where are they for the third week?
I can't remember right now. But it's sort of funny that they get all Florida refs.
They all Florida, exactly. The Florida refs are taking over. It's only a matter of time.
Exactly.
Houston Sabercats on the 16th.
Okay. That's sort of funny. Okay. I always enjoy having the refs on the podcast. As I always tell you.
Cares about refs, Charlie.
No, I think it's not the only one, but it's very enjoyable. They also invited Pancho Lopez. Everybody's busy today. So we'll just finish with what's coming on next week. This is sort of a slow week because, as many people know, once a month there is this week where all the men and the women do not play, and there are these sort of I'm not sure what to call them, high performance camps, whatever. It's a little bit, I'm not sure what to call them. There's one in Daytona and one in Palm Beach this weekend. High performance.
Okay, I thought East Coast one is Boca Raton, I think.
They're both on the East Coast this time.
No, Southern one.
One in Daytona and one in Palm Beach, yeah. Or in Boca. So we just have the FCC games. That we have FIU, which actually has forfeited. FIU going through some rough times right now. And the other two games, USF against UCF.
That'll be a good match.
Yeah, and UF with UNF. As I said earlier, UF is looking to be one of the four on the top. Also UCF. I'm not sure if this game is going to happen. The FIU women, UM women, they've really been, after the pandemic, really struggling to get back. They're just trying to have some type of games. We have some interesting games in the U19s. Key Biscayne traveling to Jacksonville. That should be a tight game, I think. Jacksonville has been doing well also this season. Boca, Wellington. Both teams are struggling at the U19 level. They're doing pretty well at the U16 level, but for some reason they have a gap there. And Okapi visiting Tampa. And that also should be a good game. Tampa has been showing much progress.
Tampa got some athletes. I'm not sure where they came from. They were struggling in previous years, but they've been looking good this season. Yeah.
No, and they've been playing good rugby also. I mean, a huge difference. Of course, Okapi is sort of a little bit stronger than everybody else, but we'll see. And then we have a few U16 and U14 games. And this is funny, having a friendly in the middle of the season. Sarasota trying to get some
Stay
time.
sharp. Got to keep the skills sharp, Charlie.
Yeah, which is great, And, of course, the Miami Sharks over at Seattle against the Seawolves. 10 p.m. local time. Referee Cisco Lopez. So that's another reason to watch the game. I pretty much watch the sevens, the HSBC sevens. I just mostly watch them to see Cisco. That's the main reason I watch them. And Argentina, of course, because they're so enjoyable to watch.
How's Uruguay doing in the HSBC?
They're not even in it.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah.
No, they're not terrible, but they as they reduced the number of teams, we got left out. But we're coming back. We are coming back.
Challenger Series.
Yeah, this weekend actually over in Uruguay.
In Uruguay, absolutely.
So,
the TMO from the Sharks match is down there.
the other one?
And then Ian
Mike.
Seaton is another ref. Amanda Cox.
They're also going down there, Amanda.
Mm-hmm. Amanda's down there, as is Ian Seaton, one of the other refs in the U.S.
Why don't they invite you, Tom?
I'm not good enough. They don't like me for seventh.
You should go to Uruguay, man. You'd be.
They say I give out too many yellow cards.
Well, as long as you don't give out so many penalty tries, that's fine, you know.
Thanks for not throwing me under the bus in front of Tui. I can tell you're struggling.
Okay, so we did it under an hour. Really enjoyed having these guys from Jacksonville and Sarasota and Coach Tui. We may have moving forward within the podcast. I'll bring in some little interviews offline from the players, because one of my objectives is to sort of try to bring the players closer to the rugby community, for to get to know them, because I think when you actually know the players, you're more inclined to support the team and watch it, and go to the games, because and of course we have our 3 Floridian players, and hopefully a few years down the road, most of the players are going to be from Florida.
That's the plan.
Well, a bunch of them. Is it the plan? I don't know. I forgot to ask. Well, maybe Tui is not the person to ask, but yeah.
That's the plan of the people in Florida. That's where they want to get to.
That's my plan. But okay, man. Thank you very much, Tom. Remember,
have a good night, Charlie.
Buy me a coffee if you like what we do, and we'll see you next week, hopefully, or the further week.
For the buy me a coffee thing, you should set up a $7 a month option for a penalty try.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, I'll add a 7 point. Maybe Khalil will buy into that one. Hey, Khalil. Hi, if you're watching. Okay, we'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you.